Let's continue on with our FRC 2023 Scouting app tutorial. In this video, we're going to be going over some more advanced calculations and graphs. We're going to be looking at cycle times. So how long on average does it take a robot to go from picking up an object to scoring it? And we're going to be looking at a metric of performance that shows you how well a robot did in relation to their average during a match. All right, so to get into it, let's start by actually going and taking a look at our input form. And you'll notice when we click preview, we've got pickup cone and pickup cube. And we don't care whether or not it was the cone or the cube. What we're interested is in the cycle time between both. You'll notice that when I click pickup cube, if we go to the bottom here, pickup cone at 12.5 seconds. And then if I click one of any of these buttons on the screen, it also tells me cone right mid, 21.7 seconds. And if we look at the data that's going to be put in the database over here, you'll notice it actually recorded the exact time I clicked the cone right mid button, and it also recorded the exact moment I clicked the pickup cone button. So we can use a delta or a difference between those two times to figure out how long that one cycle was. But in order to do that, first we need to combine all of the times that anyone clicked any of these buttons right here, and we need to combine all the times that anyone clicked either of these two buttons right here. So let's go to calculations and let's actually get started. So let's go down to the bottom here, and let's start by adding our goal here, which is average match cycle time. And we're going to be calculating an average because you likely have many cycles during a match. So first we're going to make what I'm going to call our pickup list. So our list of times that someone picked up. And we're also going to make our placed lists. So all the times that someone placed an object. And this is pretty easy. We're going to go ahead and use this combine function right here. And it says combines two or more arrays of events. And the events are the buttons that we clicked. So for the pickup list, it's going to be pretty easy. So we're going to go over to the side here and we're going to find pickup cube and pickup cone. They're both button clicks, as you can see right here. So we're going to combine those two together. So now we have a list of all the times that a cone was picked up or a cube was picked up, and we can get it out of this pickup list right here. Now we need to do the placed list. And this one is going to be a lot larger. So I suggest we break this down into two. Cube placed list and cone placed list. And then we'll combine those two to get our placed list. All right. So let's start by doing the cubes placed list. So we're going to find every single button that someone would click to say that a cube was placed. And we go here, we'll see that they start right around here with cube center mid. So cube center mid, we're not worried about dropped, okay, because we just want cycles that were complete, where they actually placed something. We're going to go cube left high, cube left low, and cube left mid, cube mid high, mid low, cube right high, cube right low, and cube right mid. Now obviously you can decide to add in things like cube passed off or cube pickup cancel, anything you'd like in there as well, but for our purposes we're just going to look at when they actually placed an item. So now we have a big list of all the times that any of these buttons were clicked. And now we can do the same thing with cones in our cone placed list calculation. All right, awesome. So now we have both our cubes list and our cones list. And then to get our total placed list, we can just go ahead and combine those two. So go down here and get the cube placed list and the cone placed list. All right, very cool. So now we have our list of pickups and our list of placed lists, okay? So now we just need to get the average match cycle time. So this is going to require two things. Obviously, we're going to end up doing an average, But the first thing that we're going to do inside of the average is this delta function. So the first argument to the delta function is going to be the start event, or in this case, the pickup list. All right, so we're going to go ahead and grab the pickup list and put that in here. The second argument is going to be the end event, or in this case, the placed list. Okay, so we'll grab our placed list and put that in there. So now it'll give us the difference between each one of those events. So we'll see things like, oh, it took 5 seconds for this cycle, 3 seconds for this next one, 20 for this next one. And then we put this average around it. So now it's going to get the average of all the times that that delta function gives us back. Now, to help cement that a little bit in your mind, let's go ahead and go back to tables and let's make a table and take a look at this. So if we go look at new table, this is the one we've been using to track match stats. We should be able to go to our calculated fields and go find our average match cycle time and put it right in here. And you'll notice that the numbers are in hundreds, and that's actually because it's tracking all of this in milliseconds. So this is 848 milliseconds, 887 milliseconds, 2045 milliseconds. If you want to get it into seconds, of course, it's pretty easy. Go ahead, go back to your calculation. We'll scroll all the way down to our average match cycle, and we'll just go ahead and divide that by 1,000. And now if we go back to our tables, here we go. Now it gives this to us in seconds, and you'll notice for a lot of the data that I put in there, I was clicking buttons really quickly, so the cycle times are pretty small, but then the last two that I did where I acted like I was in a real match, the cycle times are a little bit more reasonable. All right, fantastic. So we have our cycle time per match, and something we could do is we could go make an average cycle time as well by clicking add a new calculation, average cycle time for robot, and I'll add that here to make it clear, average robot cycle time. And then this one's a lot easier. We just do the average, go down all the way here, of average robot, or of average match cycle time. Okay, as easy as that. Now, let's go ahead and focus on the second thing we were going to do in this video, which was performance. So tracking, making a metric for how well did a robot do during a match. So you'll notice in robot, we actually got our average total score here. And one thing that you can do to track how well your robot is personally doing in a match is you can see, hey, is the score I got during this match better or worse than the average score, the score I normally get? And that's a really good way for you to track any team, including your own, to see if that was a particularly good match for them. So one really cool way to do this is we've already got our average total score here. We go back to tab 1. Let's make a new calculation called total score performance, just a performance metric. And we want this metric to be positive if our total score was higher than our normal average score, and negative if our total score was lower. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to go down to our calculated fields, and we're going to take total score, so the score we got in this match, and subtract the average total score. So now if total score is 100 and average total score is 90, then this is positive. But if total score is 90 and this is 100, now it's negative. And for those of you who might have caught it, we need to take this negative sign and put it in right there. All right, really cool. So we've gotten our cycle time and we've gotten our performance. Now let's start making a couple graphs so that way we can get to looking at more advanced stuff next time and understanding how we're going to show these calculations in our data to other users. So if we go here, you'll notice I've already played around and made a couple graphs. I'm going to go ahead and delete these and make a new one. So click on add a new graph. We'll go here and let's start by picking a bar graph. And with this bar graph, let's look at the cycle times that we just calculated. And let's start by doing it per match. So let's put in a match number on the x-axis so we can see the match number. And then in our calculated fields, let's find our average match cycle time. Here we go. Put that in the y-axis. and bam. So you should see some numbers that look a lot like we saw in that table earlier. However, we don't know really what each team is on here. So let's go ahead and let's make that really obvious. Let's drag team number right here into our x-axis as well. And now it matches the team number to the match number. Now there's a whole lot of stuff you can do with graphs. For instance, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and angle the numbers and move them so that they're in about the middle of each one of their columns. And here you go. Now it's very clear. You can see that in match 1, 33 had an average cycle time of a bit under a second. Again, it's an exaggeration just because we put in the data weird, but you go over here, you've got 2.6 seconds on match 7 with 8159. Obviously, there's a whole lot you can get into with graphs, but we're going to get into that next video. This video, we got through all our advanced calculations. Again, there's also a ton more that you can do with that, and I encourage you guys to poke around and see what else you can get done with calculations, and I'll see you guys in the next video.